Art is a series of intentional decisions, but AI references make zero decisions. They just kind of average everything else. It's like a predict the decision kind of thing. And if you're trying to be one of the artists that makes it, you're going to have to find your aesthetic. And it can't be from a math model. Because I can tell, and a lot of other people can tell too. Every time you use an AI reference as a tool in your process, you are diluting your own hand and almost becoming a greenhorn all over again. So let's talk about why AI references are destroying your artistic voice while I work on this little art that I'm going to make into a sticker at some point. One of the biggest ones is that even though it looks like AI has accurate anatomy, a lot of the times it's just slightly off. And you won't be able to tell right away. You'll be able to tell way later, and I've tested this myself. What happens is that if you decide that you're going to put AI into your process at the beginning, like a base, and trace over it, right? You're going to find out that later down the line, at some point, your art is going to be asymmetrical in a way that you can't fix. You have to go back to the beginning. You're going to end up wasting a lot of time, and you're going to pick up those habits. And that is especially problematic if you're still building fundamentals. Because AI doesn't understand what is under the hood for a lot of these things. It doesn't know that there is bone under skin. It just knows legs, right? That's why when you look at a lot of torsos on anime AI images, they kind of look a little weird because if you put clothes on them, it's not wearing clothes per se. It's clothing in the shape of a torso. Do you kind of understand what I mean? On top of that, when it comes to perspective and structure and construction and foreshortening and all that stuff that you learn over time, it technically becomes mangled in AI outputs. Using them as references can confuse your sense to how forms actually work in 3D space or how weight and gravity works on a figure. You really do need to use traditional photos or live drawing to give you reliable spatial logic, because AI often gives optical illusions that don't really hold up when you try to build and rotate them. And that's why when they try to make 3D AI models, they end up just being shit. And I also just want to point out real quick about using AI references. I'm not talking about colors. I'm not talking about you like to design or you feel like you can make the design better or something like that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about implementing this as part of your work process. And before I forget, Resin gave me these pens and I forgot to talk about them. So these pens go on really liquidy. They are very glittery. And I would say that they're more used for writing or for small details that you're going to get into. I wouldn't really use these for coloring a lot. They don't blend, but I'm pretty sure that's not what they're for. I think they're more for writing, and they're really cute though. So if you use glitter pens and stuff, I think you guys might like these. So just feel free to watch me as I go through this a little bit more, because when you guys see this drawing here, I looked up dozens of references for making this, and you would think, oh, this is just like a fruit cat or a food animal. It shouldn't even be that hard, but you would be surprised because there's a lot of different types of references for this exact thing, and I wanted to make something that fit my cat Cube that I could make into a sticker and put somewhere that people would just buy, maybe because they either support me or otherwise. And don't get me wrong, I did look at AI references because they're on Pinterest, and the ones that are on Pinterest are nowhere near the quality of the ones that are from artists, because even though you're doing similar things, you're not actually doing the same thing. And no 4 artists or 3 artists are going to come up with the same idea. If you give them make a fruit cat, it's not going to be the same fruit cat. They're all going to have different ideas and different expressions. And if you're just using AI and tracing over it, you're saying, oh, please AI, be my expression for me. And don't get me wrong, a lot of people now are saying that you have to use AI in your art process. And let me tell you, you fucking don't have to do that. And anyone telling you that you have to use AI references is a bunch of bullshit. And also, by generating your own references, you're supporting the harmful training practices that allowed this thing to happen in the first place. And that is normalizing the system that it's okay to exploit artists or just be theft adjacent. That is wholly different. If you see an AI image and you get inspired by it and it becomes part of the 4 or 5 images that you have for inspiration, I am not talking about that because I feel like I'm going to get some of those comments in my video. But if you feel like you need AI references for literally all of your drawings, then maybe you need to take a step back and start looking at other references, because what were you doing 3 years ago, 4 years ago, if you were drawing before then? What were you doing to get references if you couldn't find one? You were just trying to make do, and that's what you should do. You just do what you did in 2022. It's not that hard. And I know that some of the references you see online are just easier to use. And I'm not saying you can't use something like, oh, well, you saw hair colors that you really liked and you liked the way that that looked and you want to maybe do a version of that. That's not what I'm talking about. Another thing that I wanted to talk about, when you use an AI reference, a lot of people who are AI users who generate images, they're using the most popular of the most popular data sets, checkpoints and LoRa's. Because AI bros are attracted to the semi-realistic rendering, heavy glows, lens flares, symmetrical faces, over-detailed textures, cinematic lighting, and that signature like AI polished smoothness. Also that big lolly anime look, that's also very popular. And when you decide that you're going to trace off of these images because it's easier for you, eventually your art, your style, your voice will be completely gone from your art. You might not see it now because, oh, well, I'm just going to put it in a little bit. But eventually, everyone will be able to notice that, hey, you know what? This kind of is starting to look a little bit like AI. And I know some people will be like, well, you're just witch hunting people who have AI styles, and AI styles came from people stealing artists' work. That's true. But also, there's so many bad actors out there that come around, have clearly been tracing something as some sort of shortcut. And they've done it for so long that their art just looks like AI. And then if you look at their art from before AI, it looks completely different. And this is especially a problem with traditional artists who are trying to get into digital spaces so they can sell their work and do whatever, because they will clearly just generate stuff and then throw it on their main page and just recreate it. I've seen it so many times it's not even funny anymore. Because at what point does your style start becoming inbred and homogenized and everything just starts looking like you use AI images? Sure, I could have used a picture of a cute kawaii marshmallow and generated it off of my computer or whatever on some website like PixAI or something, and then use that and traced over that. Or I could just look at somebody who makes cat fruit or cat food and just use that and as my inspiration to get ideas, because that person's already doing that thing that I want to do. Just figure out what to do based off of that and then look up other stuff. I don't actually need AI to make it for me. I can make my own decisions. And that's kind of why I chose to use these glitter pens, just in case I wanted to try something new for once to see how this works out. And I don't know if the final product will even look like this, but it's in my sketchbook now. Doesn't hurt to try it out. Using AI references risks you turning your art into like an AI light. Now, people can tell you used AI in your references or in your work, but they can't call you out on it directly because they can't find the images, whether you generated them offline, online, wherever. They can't find the original, but they know, and we all know when you've been using AI. I've seen so many artists just doing this process alone and I can't make videos on them and I can't call them out, and I know they sell commissions doing the exact same thing. And on top of that, AI references make it way too easy for you to outsource your brainstorming. You stop generating your own concepts in your imagination, memory, or real observation. And artists have said on X, from what I've seen and on Threads, that people have gone idea bankrupt when the AI just isn't there. And they don't know what to do because their internal library is not being exercised anymore. Even kind of like using a GPS. Like, for example, when I'm in town, unless I'm going someplace I've never been to before, I don't bother using a GPS because I want to know where I am at all times. And, like if I went to Vermont or I went somewhere else, that's different. But I know where I am. I know where to go. I know how to get there. So I don't need a GPS to tell me where to go unless it's a very specific place. It's kind of like that. Or another thing, if you wanted to assume, it's kind of like self-driving cars. A lot of people who are drivers who own self-driving cars, they talk about how much anxiety they feel if they have to start driving and taking hold of the wheel and controlling the car again, because they're so used to letting the car do most of the work and they're not doing the work anymore, so they feel anxious. And why would you want to be anxious on the road? Why would you want to be anxious while you're trying to come up with ideas? The ideas should just naturally flow through you. And I'm not talking about art block, because I know people have art block. On top of that, AI models inherently have data set biases, whether it be over-representation of certain ethnic features, body types, genders, ages, cultural aesthetics. If you reference them heavily, that skew will start bleeding into your work unconsciously, defaulting to Eurocentric features and stereotypical poses and expressions. Like, that's why I can tell the difference between Stable Diffusion and Midjourney, because those two models are so obvious. Their faces are so weird that I can tell that type of model's smile. Same with ChatGPT. I can tell ChatGPT because it has the piss filter, and even if it doesn't have the piss filter, it has a lot of different things that just come from the types of eyes that it chooses to use, the types of noses, types of mouth and stuff. On top of that, when you make art, it will feel less earned and less authentic to you. There is like a psychological kind of hit when you know that you've leaned on AI too much for the final piece. It kind of makes you feel hollow or less meaningful, and especially even if no one knows, because now it's some kind of guilt that you have to keep with yourself. And the reason why I know this is because it is all over the internet. People who have used AI references, people who have said that they feel a certain way about it. This is just the culmination of me doing a little bit of research on Threads and on X. And one of the worst things is actually deciding that you're going to use AI in your process, and then you're going to move along and see if you can use these shortcuts to make money off of it. And now you've started taking money for AI images. And the moment that you risk AI detection in your work, people are going to start backlashing against you, and humans are getting better at spotting when something is AI. Even if it's just little things, like people are studying people's speed paints, and people can tell when you're being performative in a speed paint now. I know that I can. And I'm not going to tell you all of the ways that I know someone's being performative in a speed paint, because you should really be doing the work. And on top of that, this is one of the biggest things. So let's say you do have AI in your process and you put it down as a base or something like that, right? Or worse, you decide that you're going to actually use it for something. Now you're painting over AI. Now I know that Ross Strauss has done that. And when you paint over AI, it is actually a lot of fucking work. So instead of the art being yours now, it's just AI with a paint over to fix all of the problems. Is that what you're wanting to do? Are you just wanting to be an AI editor at that point? And I know that some of the big artists who are industry level have to do this in concept art, but they're being forced to do that, and that's different. But you, the person who is right now listening to me and wondering if I should use an AI in my process, imagine how much work it's going to be to clean up all of the random artifact halos, the impossible edge fixtures, all of the noise, all of the problems, just to fix it and say that you did it instead of just trying to draw it yourself when you can already draw. Because I'm seeing a lot of people who literally will use AI as a base, and you could tell from their speed paint they use it as a base, and you can't say anything about it unless you can like really call them out. And skipping the learning phase, and you're going straight to rendering and doing all this other stuff, but you're not keeping any of that information. And by the time you do keep that information, you're basically just drawing AI images. Why would you want to do all that? Everybody knows that heavy referencing is not bad, but it is sometimes kind of frowned upon because it's really, really close to tracing, okay? When you lean into heavy AI reference use, I feel like your brain kind of shifts between interpretation to tracing and just filling, because you kind of start treating the image like a pre-made coloring book instead of like translating it into something different for yourself. You're not making any kind of creative decisions because they were already made for you, and you're just correcting the bad decisions that the AI made for you. One person I saw on X said that it was essentially turning your hand into a copy machine, because you get there faster, but you lose everything in the process. So the interpretation, the personal decision making that actually defined your style beforehand is just completely lost if you decide that you're just going to make a lore of your work and paint over the problems. Let me mention something really quick. You guys know when you go on VGen and the opening like splash page has all these artists in front, and I just went over that VGen scam recently, and a lot of them use AI. That's why when I sometimes go to the splash page, I'm like, oh my god, all of this looks the fucking same. And it's because a lot of them are being forced to use AI in their process, and that fucking sucks for them. It really, really does. Because when you're also deciding to trace off of AI or use heavy AI references, you're literally becoming AI adjacent. And that's why a lot of people who just go to the front page of VGen, like I could tell you from experience, when I go over to VGen, I actually look specifically for what I'm looking for in the search bar, and then I go and I look for people, and then I go see what styles people have and if it's consistent before I even think of purchasing. It's killing the demand for your own future work if everything you create just looks like AI adjacent. You really want your work to just be looked over because someone goes, oh man, that kind of looks like AI. I don't want that. I don't even know if that person actually draws. And the last thing that I want to talk about, it kind of reduces the spiritual meaning and the act of creation by doing it this way. Beyond skill, many people see drawing as meditative, almost like a spiritual thing. I do a little bit, but not fully. And translating your inner mind into something that other people can see, even with all the mistakes, it is more alive than using AI, right? Because AI references are a shortcut that entirely makes the act feel mechanical and empty. And it loses just all personal meaning. Like you're missing the bringing your ideas to life with your own hands kind of thing. Especially where everything is like super instant everything. This loss of personal meaning like kind of upsets me a little bit, because I'm an artist who loves to commission people, and when I go over and I have to be judgy on if I'm going to commission a person based on their style, just because it looks like an AI style, I am completely turned away. That's what you're doing in the future for yourself. As I finish up this toasted marshmallow Cubase sticker, I wanted to thank Let's Resin real quick for handing me these so that I could bring this to you. And if you guys are interested, like I said, feel free to go to their website. They're kind of satiny and smooth at the same time. I don't know. Yeah, AI reference might give you a quick polish, but nothing beats the real handmade stuff, just like this. and your style is completely yours. You need to protect it and you need to let it shine out over all of the other slop that's already out there. Because let me tell you, I can tell when people be drawing that same Midjourney bitch, okay? I could tell. I want you guys to stick to real observation, life, photos, and tools. They're already there for you. Everything was already set for you. You don't need to use AI references for anything other than like stuff like colors or whatever like that. Hopefully I reached some of you out there, and if I did, or if this reached you in your heart, feel free to subscribe to my channel. And tell me what you think of this thing that I did, and if you like the design, because I don't know what I don't know where I was going with it, but I was trying. If you're also interested in seeing more of my full res artwork, I have a Patreon. I really want you guys to feel empowered with your drawings and empowered to use the tools that were already there for you, already ready for you to use. All you have to do is just pick them up and just try to avoid the AI stuff as much as you can. I know that it's really hard to avoid it, but do your best. That's all like anyone could really ask. You want to see what happens when you just choose to trace AI for commissions and for all of your artwork. Please check the videos that I made on Moth Dusky that I linked somewhere around here. You guys will find this girl is totally out of her mind. I was so nice to her when I spoke to her, and she is just the biggest liar I have ever met on this planet. So feel free to watch the Moth Dusky Chronicles, because they're definitely worth the watch. And there's I think there's 2 videos or 3 videos. There's enough for you to get by if you're trying to draw something. So go head over to there, and I guess I will see you guys in the next one, since there should be 2 videos coming out this week. And bye.